welcome to episode 33. It's so nice to be back here in this space. We've missed you. I've missed
Yeah.
you. I think Claire has missed you too. I've
Yeah.
missed recording this.
I know.
Um so I'm Hanna Lisa, and over there in wonderful Nova Scotia is my dear friend and colleague Claire, and together we're a part of the Making Stories team, and this is our podcast where we talk about all of the things that are on our needles or off our needles, and also some shop news, and generally talking about knitting and sustainability in knitting because that's what we're all about. We were on a short hiatus just with the podcast the past few weeks as Claire took a well deserved and long planned trip to the UK. But now we're back. Yeah, today we have a little bit of whip talk and some sort of knitting slash frogging slash knitting plans, and then also some shop news that we're going to get into at the end. So just grab a cup. What? Grab a thing with something inside, like coffee, like my drug of choice. Grab your knitting, settle in. Welcome. Oh my God, I'm out of practice.
I love it. I love it. It's all good.
Okay, let's talk about knitting.
Yes.
So we both have one work in progress.
I
What?
know. I know. It's weird.
Monogamous
That's
is
not like
weird.
us. No one have like many
No.
things on the needles.
I'm nervous, which is why I have three other things here that I'm planning to cast on. So just in case you're wondering. Yeah. Do you want to get started? Should I get started?
I'll start. Why not? Well, so I'm sorry if you watched our last podcast episode. I'm about to show you something that probably looks exactly the same. But it went through like a transformation in between. So this is my Merrymaker, which you probably recognise from the last podcast episode if you watched it. And it probably looks very similar. But I actually knit the entire body and ripped it back. And that's because I'm not sure why. It's probably something to do with because I'm using a different yarn than is suggested in the pattern. So I got a different gauge, which meant I'm knitting size 4 when I usually would knit a size 2 for me. And I got all the way to the body and I tried it on. I probably should have tried it on a bit sooner, but there you go. And I'm not sure why, but I found that there was a lot of positive ease in the upper arm. And it looked good around the bust, but there was still not quite as much ease as I would have liked. So to rectify it, I ripped it all the way back to where I separated for the body and sleeves, and I redistributed. It's a hard word to say. I swapped around the stitches, so I put less in the sleeves and I added more to the bust. And that seems to have fixed the problem. So I'm really excited. You know what? I wasn't mad about ripping back. I know ripping back can be a bit frustrating, but I'm enjoying knitting this pattern so much that it wasn't really a big issue. I'd rather have it so it fits properly. And really it just means I get to spend a little extra time working on it. And because let's face it, look how fun it is. It's such a fun project.
It's such a fun pattern. Oh,
It's so relaxing as well, and especially because even the colour work sections, it's so easy to remember. So I don't actually, now I'm up to the body, I don't have to look at the pattern at all. I can just knit my stockinette and then set off and do my colour work, little wavy bits. So it's been quite a good project. Since I got back from England a couple of days ago, me and Chris have been binge watching Stranger Things, which is so much fun. So it's been like I've been able to knit and watch Stranger Things. And like
is your
how
gauge still the same, or are you like super tight gauge now?
That's a really good point. I haven't checked it. I should check that later. Because there's some, I love watching scary things. I'm a big like horror films fan, but this season's especially creepy. It's like there was a few bits where both me and Chris were like, oh,
Creepier than the two before.
Yeah.
Like the two because I haven't watched the latest one,
It's
and I already found like I don't know what happened to me. I used to love horror movies and I don't anymore. I don't
No,
know what's up. So Stranger Things is about as scary
it's
as
pretty
it gets for
scary.
me. And I already found the last two pretty creepy.
They are. I think that's
But
how I would describe it. It's very creepy than scary, but
hmm,
oh my god, it's so good. It really, really creeps me out, which is you know, what you want from like your knitting view, at least I do. You know, so yeah, that's what I've been watching anyway. Why I've been doing it. So hopefully, I think on the last podcast episode, I was like, next time you see me, I'll be wearing it. I'm not. Apologies. But next time I should be very close to being done. It's got
no.
so humid here, so even when I get it done, I doubt I'm going to be wearing it very much.
Hmm.
Which is fine, which means I probably won't be overly rushing it. Maybe by the time we record again, I won't have it finished, but that's okay. I know I missed the Cal deadline massively, but that Cal was never about trying to rush through things. It was
No.
just about knitting together. So I'm going to take my time with it because I'm enjoying every single stitch. But yeah, that is a little tip. If you're knitting top down and you try it on and you do find that maybe the sleeves are a little bigger than you'd like, um, you can redistribute your stitches to how you want your fit to work. All you have to keep in mind, so all I had to do is just do a couple of little maths to make sure, because I think the colour work, if I remember it rightly, it's either over 8 or 10. I think it's 8 stitches. So you just have to make sure that your stitch count is
Hmm.
gonna add up, do a multiple of whatever the stitch pattern is. We have a lot of things on adjusting patterns on our blog, so I'll stick a couple links below if reading those is of interest of you, or to you. But yeah, so that's what I did, and that's my Merrymaker, and I'm just really enjoying working on it. It's been so much fun and very relaxing. It's been good to have in the UK because it's been so busy and there's been lots of visiting and catching up with people. So in between all of that, I haven't really wanted anything too complicated, just to be able to sit down and
Hmm.
pick something up and knit on it. So it's been perfect for that. So yeah. And then, do you want me to go straight into my possible plans?
Yes.
Well, I might need people's help and advice a little bit. So I have something that has been on my needles. See, this is the thing. This is what I need to decide. This has been on my needles for
That
literally, oh, it's years. This is a project I've picked up and put down so many times, and I'm thinking of.
that yarn though,
I
that
know.
yellow.
So this is the
What?
thing. So I'm gonna say before I even start launching into this, me wanting to rip this back and frog the yarn back is nothing at all against the pattern, which is beautiful. This is the Irish, Iris, the Iris shrug. Oh, that's really hard to say in one go. By
Iris.
Melody,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to say Irish. By Melody Hoffman. It's a beautiful pattern and it's actually really nicely done. And I've had a really nice time knitting it. So you cast on provisionally, do a provisional cast on right in the centre, and you knit one way in this beautiful lace pattern, and then you put the stitches back on your needle and knit in the opposite direction. And it's basically done, other than the fact I was going to block it out and then you pick up stitches all the way around and you kind of knit for the sleeves and you do like a garter
Hmm.
thing, you know what I mean, and it turns it into a shrug, and it's beautiful and it's such a nice pattern. But the more I did, I picked it up a few months back. I think it was just after Christmas, and I was like, I'm going to finish it because it's been on my needles forever. And I got this far, and I started thinking, am I going to wear this? Like, or is it going to end up? Because it's lovely, but it's quite delicate. It's like a little shrug. It's really pretty. I don't go anywhere. Like, I don't really, it's not something I'm going to wear around the house, let's put it that way. And because it is like a little bit more delicate, having a bouncing pup with me who is at doggy daycare today, that's why she's not around, But I can see me, if I'm just wearing this, it's going to end up in the wardrobe, and it'll probably be something that comes out now and again if we're going for a meal and I want to feel a little bit fancy, which I could keep it at that. But this yarn, this is Samite from Blacker Yarns. It's discontinued. It's a woolen spun silk and wool blend.
It was so good. Oh my God, such a good
And
yarn.
it's the perfect yellow. I mean, look at it. It blends into everything in the house. And my problem is, I got to this. I thought, no, I'm going to finish it, and then I got to this point, and I'm really close to being finished, and I still have a lot of yarn left. And this is one of the problems I'm having. I've got a lot of yarn left, but it's not enough to make, because it's a very fine yarn. I'm kind of like, I'm worried it's just going to end up sitting in my stash forever and never getting made, and then the shrug's going to end up in my wardrobe, never getting worn. So I'm thinking of ripping the entire thing back and using the yarn instead to knit myself a rift tee. Because, or another, I'm not completely set on, but another, like a knitted t-shirt for summer. Because I think I'll just wear the bejesus out of it, really.
Yeah, you would.
So yeah, this is where I'm at. So, I mean, and it's hard because it's beautiful. It's such a, and I had, but the way I'm looking at it is I had a really nice time knitting this whole thing. So it wasn't wasted time. But yeah, I think I'm going to rip it back.
And the thing is, I think you should rip it back.
Yeah,
Like not because like I think the Irish shrug is
it
beautiful
is
and I think it's
beautiful.
like it's gorgeous also in that yarn. But I also think with a work in progress that's been sitting in your work in progress pile for years and years, it is normal and okay and natural for you to, dare I say, evolve past it.
And I think that's the
Like,
thing.
see, you're not the same person that you were those years ago when you cast this on.
I
A lot
know.
has happened since then. And so I
Yeah,
think it's just like, I think it maybe just served its purpose. It made you happy while you were knitting it, and now it can become something else. And I
yeah.
think honestly, a knitted tee in that yarn in that yellow,
I
you'll
just,
just wear
I
it and
know.
wear it and wear it and wear it.
I That's what I'm thinking, because you know what I'm like with my vanilla heirloom sweater that I knit in
Hmm.
Ginger Twist, BFL Masham, the Masham Mayhem, um, and that was a 4-ply jumper that I knit, and I think I wear that like at least 3 times every week because it's just so nice.
Yeah.
And this is the feeling I get if I knit a tee in this. I think I'm just going to be throwing it on constantly. So cool. Right. I'm going to do that then. So nothing
I'm
against me
excited.
too. Nothing against Iris at all. Check out the pattern if you're looking for a beautiful, delicate shrug. Um, then check it out because it's lovely. Um, but I am going to rip it back and I'm going to use. I just want to make sure I use, because you can't get it anymore. So I'm going to make sure I use
Mm,
it all up. I mean, just look at the yellow. It's so pretty.
gorgeous.
It's such a good yellow. So, ooh, yeah, I'm excited then. Because I've also been, I'll be honest, I've been enjoying working on my Merrymaker, but I've had this like, what am I going to knit next? Because normally I have more than one thing on my needles. And I've kind of been like, I don't know what to make. I have some sewing things queued up, but I like knowing what my knitting projects are gonna be. And I'm also on a big I want to knit from my stash kick this year. And
Mm,
honestly, and that's where the yarn combo for Merrymaker came from. And I've knit a bunch of things this year that have been purely from stash. I've not bought any yarn, and it's been so much fun. And I've made some of my best things I've knitted for wearing, if that makes sense. So, and that's the kind of feeling I'm getting from the yellow samite. So yay! I'm excited. Okay,
it's gonna be
those
good.
are my things. Those are my things. What are your things?
So, I have a whip. Uh, I also didn't make the Cal deadline. So here's the thing. So we ran a cal for our issue 7, the Making Stories Joy cal that ran from April 1st until the end of May, and it was a super low key cal. It was lovely. We ran it purely on Instagram, drew prizes every other week, just shared people's projects every week, checked in with our own projects, and I absolutely loved it. Like we did a
It was
few
fun.
cals a couple of years back, and there was one that was really good. That was a summer stock cal. So at some point we might do something like that again. Not this year though. Um, but other than that, it was always like pretty much hit and miss with our cals. But this just felt really nice. Like it was it's just a nice low key cal. Um, and testament to that it was low key is that neither Karen nor I have finished our projects for it. So
I hope that
it wasn't
resonates
at
with
all,
people because we
but
were very much like, this is
yeah,
chilled out, don't worry about it. So if anyone was thinking, yeah, right, we really did mean it because we didn't finish.
we're super chilled out. Nevertheless, I am really excited to report on my progress for my Serendipity. So this is a pattern also from our issue 7 that's designed by Tanya DeJoy. Oh, by the way, Merrymaker was designed by Jill Thompson Beach.
Yes, apologies.
And I mean, we've talked about this a million times before, but those, like the designers that we work with, they're all absolutely awesome. Why is there like, oh, it's actually it was a new skein. So yeah, that is Serendipity. I am knitting this in the Carbon Woolens Mojave, the cotton and linen blend that the pattern was designed for it in the colorway mauve, mauve,
Mauve.
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 That. Um, and I have finished the back piece,
Oh, look at it. I love this
which
design.
which has these cute little eyelets that are super simple to make. And don't you worry, yes, it is cropped, but and you will be very proud, I think I already said this on the podcast, but I swatched for this and I measured the swatch before and after the blocking
Good work.
because it's garter stitched and garter grows like nobody's business,
Yeah.
especially in the row gauge when you block it. And so even though this baby, if I stand up, is barely covering, well, it is covering my boobs. So, but it will grow in length, and so the length that I actually want it is, so this is a pretty high-waisted jeans, so kind of sitting here,
Hmm.
which I think this is going to work.
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
can block it quite aggressively. Um,
Plus, you're gonna want to
so
like
yeah,
open up those eyelets slightly too. So
exactly. So it is just going to be like,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so
Um,
nice.
so that's the back piece, and I mean, we can actually do a fun thing and compare them. Uh, where you'll also see that I was significantly more stressed when I knit the first piece than I was with the second. I swear it's the same stitch count. Blocking
Blocking
will
soles.
help.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah. Um, but so, like, there's actually not that much more that I have to
No.
knit.
Oh, it's so
So,
nice. That's gonna be
so
so much
yeah,
fun.
and the front piece is also the eyelets, but then it's just pure garter stitch. So I'm just in a sea of garter at the moment. Um, and uh, I mean, we'll see how much knitting I get done because I get married next week.
I
So
was gonna say you're gonna be busy, so actually it's quite a good project though because if it's just pretty much garter stitch the rest of the
yeah,
time,
exactly.
if things are a little
But I kind of,
stressful, you can just be like,
I'm, yeah, I kind of have this ambition that I would actually like to finish it before it because it's going to be multiple days that we're going to be at the
mm,
venue. And I think it would be nice to just wear this because it's
yeah.
such a good summer t-shirt. Um, so we'll see. I actually knit like most of the garter stitch of the little sleeve section um on one day, like on the Sunday
Ooh,
that we spend with friends in their garden. And so yeah,
nice.
but who knows? By the time that we next record a podcast episode, because the next episode won't be podcast episode, we need to remember to ask people
Yes,
for questions later
definitely.
on. Um, I am very certain that I will have finished this, and then I get to wear it, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, and then no more garter stitch on 2.75 millimeter needles for me in a while. Nope. But I'm at like sort of in the same stage or at the same stage as you where I'm looking at my knitting and I have only this project and am I I have three projects planned out that are all sitting here and I'm kind of keeping myself from casting any of them on or even swatching for them because I think the minute that I will, I might be tempted to abandon this, which would be a shame because it's
Yeah.
almost done and I'm really excited about it. But it's this kind of shiny new object syndrome, you know? So I'm just going to share what I'm planning to knit. And then who knows, maybe for the next episode, we already have a cast on. So, if you've been following the podcast for a little while, you know that I love knitting socks, and I almost always have a pair of socks on the needles. I don't at the moment, but I have caked up this beautiful skein of
Ooh.
yarn, which was very kindly sent to us by Rural de la Santa. It's a Spanish yarn company run by two
Ooh.
wonderful guys, and they have their own farm where they raise mohair goats.
That's exciting.
And for this yarn, they blended their mohair. So I think it's a 50-50 blend. I lost the ball band somewhere. I
Ooh,
am going
never
to
mind.
report back when I've cast them on with the exact mix, but um, I'm pretty sure it's a 50% mohair and 50% local to them merino blend.
Ooh.
Also spun in Spain, which I mean is basically like that's the yarn that we live for,
Yeah.
right? Here at Making Stories. And it's gorgeous.
Oh, it's
It's
beautiful.
really pretty and they hand dye it and it's the most beautiful pastel pink slide
Ooh.
variations in it. So
Oh,
it's
it's
not flat at all.
gorgeous.
It's absolutely stunning. And with the 50% mohair, because mohair is a really good long staple fiber that gives a lot of strength, I thought this would be great as a natural sock yarn.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna test drive it. Maybe we'll have some in the shop at some point.
That would be fun.
Um, and when I caked up the yarn, I already knew what I wanted to make with it pretty much the second that I laid eyes on it because the colorway is just so perfect for a pair of line socks.
Ooh, that's fun.
So it's a pair of ankle socks by Dawn Henderson. I think there are like a million projects of this on Revelry. So they
I
have
love
this
her
cute kind of
patterns.
scallop edge, and yeah, I think I think
Beautiful.
that's gonna be just really fun. Also, this is a 50-gram ball, so I could probably get a full pair of socks for myself out of this. But
Yeah, with the
with the
ankle.
ankle socks,
Yeah.
for sure. And then I have some left over to make some socks for Orin because he saw me caking up that yarn. He actually wanted to help me cake up the
Oh,
yarn,
that's so
which
cute.
is was the moment when we both realized that a skein and a ball winder for a 2 3/4 year old are still a bit difficult to operate. It's like only turn it in this one direction. Mm. So yeah, that is project number one. Project number two that I'm going to start swatching for immediately when I've cast off my Serendipity is my coloring book Raglan by Amy Shear in Garthenor
It's going to be
Beacons
so
marble
nice.
and then Gorse. So I want to knit the cropped and 3/4 length white sleeve version and at a pretty loose gauge. So the pattern is written for worsted weight. This is a DK weight. And I'm just going to swatch, I think maybe with a 4.5 mil needle,
Hmm.
just to see which fabric I get. And if I like that, then I'm just going to look at the pattern and see if there's some size that I can knit where the stitch count and my gauge will give me the measurement that I want. So yeah, so I'm excited about that because I think that's going to be something
I
really
love
good
that.
to have in my wardrobe for the early fall days.
Yeah, I love
Like
that
now
pattern.
it's too hot to knit anything. Like it's too hot to wear anything but linen or silk right
Yeah.
now. So yeah. Next year I need to start knitting my summer stuff earlier.
I know, I
So
was
yeah.
thinking this. I'm really, up until now, I've really not been a knit for summer person. I just keep knitting winter things.
You just
I
keep
just
doing it.
keep going with the
Yeah.
winter things and then wear them when it comes to it. But I'm starting to feel like I need more summer knits.
Summer knits are good.
Yeah,
You know what else is good?
it's so pretty.
Oh my God. And I wish you could smell it.
Is it
It's so
is it
nice and
sheepy?
cheapy and it's just so good. So this is the third thing that I'm really excited about. Um, a little while ago, my friend Yule from Wool and Twine, who lives and dyes her beautiful yarns in Hamburg, um, it launched her very own unspun yarn. It's called Thrive. It's made from Gotland and local sheep breeds such as Juraschaf, Bergschaf, Merino-Landschaf, and Schwarzkopfschaf, all sourced locally to her and then spun at a family-run mill into this pile of fluff.
Beautiful. Oh, it looks so good.
I've never knit with unspun yarn before, and I'm so excited about this. So I got a sweater quantity of this, and I'm planning to knit a cardigan. I am thinking about the Felix cardigan of Amy
Mm-hmm.
Christophers, I think is her last name. Um, because I want something simple, lightweight. So the Felix cardigan is a raglan where you have like like a little bit of lace along the raglan seams, and then I want to knit it cropped.
Ooh, that'd be
And
nice.
probably Eula recommended, as it's my first time knitting with unspun yarn, holding it double.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna swatch with it, holding it double, and then look at this.
It's
It's a
gorgeous.
cloud.
And you know what? I knit with Unspun for the first time this winter. I made my Braven hat and I use the Iztex one. And I was always really put off by it because I'm quite heavy handed, so I'm quite like a rough knitter. And I thought I'm just going to be breaking it the whole time. Now, I did hold it double with a spun yarn, so that did help with that. But I didn't find there was a couple of times that it broke. But the really nice thing about unspun yarn is if it does break, it's so easy to kind of pop it back together. Because I don't know if you use like I quite like spit splicing, which I think is such a
Yep.
such a gross term, but it is what it is. And if you are using unspun, you can very easily, if you just like wet the yarn and then
Yeah.
just give it like a little rub and a twist, and just be slightly more careful with where it has broken as you knit it in. It like it goes back together so easily. It's not like it breaks and you're gonna have ends to weave in afterwards. It can.
Yeah.
I actually really like it. I think I was thinking as well if you were doing something. I've never really jumped on the fade train, but when I was knitting with it, I thought if you did have like subtle, like if you wanted a subtle color shift, it would actually be really easy to keep swapping if you wanted to get that fade effect. Which I've never tried
Yeah.
because it makes me nervous when I like mix certain colors because I'm a little bit of a color control freak. but but no, I think unspun yarns are so exciting. I want to knit with them more over the winter.
They are super
Yeah.
exciting. So I have the sweater quantity of this, and then I also, it's over there. I'm not going to talk about it today, but I also have a cake of Rain Cloud and Sage's unspun yarn that
Ooh.
they launched, and I even have a little bit of, which I'm also very excited about, Manchelopi, which is a Spanish unspun yarn.
Ooh.
Um, that I am thinking about possibly maybe adding to the shop at some point.
It's exciting. I think it's the way
So
forward.
people, if you want us to stock unspun yarn, let us know
Yeah.
and then we'll see what we can do for the fall. Because this is gorgeous and I would love to stock this because it's quite locally made or like I mean Hamburg is 2 hours from Berlin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pretty good in terms of distance and transport emissions. But this is not available for wholesale. So
Yeah,
this might be a nice other option.
definitely.
So so yeah, so we're really excited about all of that. Yeah, and the sorry, it was just a bit of fluff. And I'm always extremely paranoid when I see a bit of fluff anywhere that there's moths,
Yeah,
like all knitters are,
yeah.
right? So yeah, I have like in the yarn cave, there's like lavender sachets everywhere. It's just like full of lavender sachets, the entire thing. Maybe we should start like harvesting lavender and just hanging it from the
Ooh,
ceiling or something. I don't actually know if that would do anything.
that'd be
But yeah,
nice.
those are my knitting plans. I'm really liking it. I also like the color palette. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it, and I mean, oops,
Ooh,
this,
pretty.
this, this.
Oh, it's gonna be
Ooh, really
so
nice.
nice. That
Yeah.
yellow is so good.
Knitting is just really awesome. And I just love being at this phase of like, like the phase of like you're ending one project and I don't have any long lingering whips. I don't do this. Like if there's something that I don't do this anymore. I had a shawl that sat in my knitting basket for 4 years, I think.
It's yeah.
And then I got just super mad and I just threw it out.
This is where I'm at with Iris because I think it is literally 4 years ago that I started it. Because I remember even looking at it and thinking I should finish that and maybe wear it on my wedding day because I wanted something yellow that was knitted, and I ended up
Yeah.
going. I made another shawl, so it's been at least. So at the point I got married 3 years ago. So it would have been in that year before that I took a look at it and thought I need to finish that and maybe wear it for my wedding. So it might be 5 years since I started
Yeah.
Iris, and yeah, I do that a lot though. I actually, because if you remember at the beginning or the end of the year, I had that thing with Chris's cursed sweater that I was knitting, and it's been really nice. I've literally gone through all my old whips and either finished them or this is the last one where I'm actually going to frog it back and make something else. And it's kind of exciting because I don't have that thing in my brain when I start a new project thinking you should really knit that other thing before you move on. But
It's super nice.
mm,
It's such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling going through this. Like I remember when I did that a few years ago because I just felt so overwhelmed with the amount of unfinished whips and then also honestly with my stash.
yeah,
Um, and so at some point I just first went through all my whips and decided what I was going to do with them. And then, now that I'm thinking about this, there's actually one more lingering whip, but I really want to finish that. It's a pair of socks that's been on my needles for ages. Um, but the feeling of going through them and allowing myself to either frog them or gift them
mm,
or finish them, that was just so good
yeah.
because there was a blank slate. And then a little while later, I did a similar thing with my stash where I went through my stash and just looked at, I had so many beautiful yarns and I looked at them, and a lot of them I bought at various points in my life where I was a very different person
Mm,
than I am now. And they just didn't fit me anymore.
yeah.
And so I just like piled up all of the yarns that I wanted to go to Loving Hands and photographed them and made a WhatsApp group with like my knitting friends. I was like, I'm gifting them. You just need to pay postage. I'll just gift you the yarn. Like I just want them to land in hands that will do something with them.
I remember
And
that
all of it,
because I
yeah.
was really bitter about the time difference because I woke up to that group chat. They were all gone. I woke up, I was like,
No.
ooh, there's none left.
Oh
Damn
no.
you, time
I might
difference.
do I might do another round. Like not, I don't have that much from my personal stash anymore, but we do have quite a lot of yarns, like either just full skeins or also
Mm.
broken into skeins that, we get sent from yarn companies for us to try or, from designs and things. So it's yeah. So anyways, was
Oh,
ist los? Was ist passiert? Sorry, loves. There's a little
oh, Orin.
It's a little Munchkin here.
What's up, sausage?
Huh?
Poor little thing.
Was ist los, Aurin?
What a sad little noise.
Aurin, 10 Minuten brauche ich noch. Dann bin ich bei dir. Und dann gehen wir Eis essen.
Oh no.
Alrighty.
Is he okay?
He is okay. I think we just need to take him outside. He hasn't been outside today yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so let's wrap this baby up. The last thing that we wanted to talk about, so this episode is really knitting heavy, but we also have a few shop things that we wanted to talk about. Before we do that though, we would also love to ask you to send us your questions, because we realized the other day that we scheduled our next podcast episode right in the middle of my honeymoon. So I'm not going to be recording on my given 1 day at the 1 week at the Baltic Sea honeymoon, but nevertheless, so we're recording this the day before this podcast episode, or the day actually that this podcast episode airs. And then for the episode in 2 weeks, hey, Aurin, ich brauche noch 10 Minuten. So we're actually going to record a fun Q&A episode, next week, where we just want to answer any questions that you might have. So it might be about anything that we're knitting. Ja, das ist Claire. Ja. Aurin, wir recorden jetzt gerade noch. Du müsstest jetzt bitte noch mal einmal kurz zu Papa gehen. In 10 Minuten bin ich bei dir und dann gehen wir ein Eis essen. Zieh dich schon mal an zum Eisessen, damit wir dann rausgehen können. Gehen wir ein Eis essen. Okay. Very solid parenting tactic, bribing with ice cream.
It's fine. You pick your battles. It's all good.
You pick your battles. I wanted to go eat ice cream anyways, but yeah, it's also
so
just like,
that sounds good to me.
I went into this whole parenting thing saying like, oh, I'm never going to bribe my kid, especially not with food. 3 years later, throw it out the window in situations like this, but also, well, anyways. So, the next episode is actually going to be a Q&A episode that we'll be recording next week. So if you have any questions for us, anything that you've always wanted to know about making stories, about us, about our knitting, about projects, patterns, yarns, anything at all, just comment down below and then we'll go through them in our Q&A episode that will then air in 2 weeks. And we'll be back with a regular podcast episode in 4 weeks. Shop news. We were supposed to talk about Rerum Natura's Antigone in this episode, which I would have been more than happy to do because it's an awesome 100% linen yarn made in France that we launched last week and that sold out in under 2 days. What? Almost. I think there's like two balls left. One in like a gorgeous blue and the other one in a light green.
Gorgeous.
So yeah, and the thing about Antigone, about this beautiful linen yarn, is that we only had a very, very limited amount of it, because the flax harvest in France, where the flax for the yarn is harvested, last year was so bad that the Rerum Natura only got a handful of colorways actually produced, and then they were really limited in the amount that we as stockists could order. So we ordered as much as we could. But now it's gone, and it's going to be gone until the next year. But we're definitely going to restock it next year when it's available again. So thank you everyone who ordered. If you want to get a notification when it's up next year, just head over to the website and leave your email in the little notifications box under the Antigone listing, so that we know to send you an email when it's back in stock in the spring 2023.
Another thing that people
Oh,
should be aware of too is that because we do only, in some of the yarns that we carry, we do only have a small amount depending on the yarn producer we're working with. And when we do launch a new product, we do send out a product update so you know. So if you're seeing this and you're like, oh, I wanted to buy some, but I didn't realize it was up in the web shop, you can subscribe to our newsletter. When you do that, you can go down to the newsletter we send you, and that'll automatically subscribe you to the product updates as well. Now, you can opt in and out of all the emails that we send through a link in the bottom of that email where it says choose which emails you want to receive from us. So you can subscribe and just get the newsletter, or you can subscribe and continue getting product updates. So as soon as we launch those new products, it's there in your inbox to be like, we're in the web shop. So so you don't miss out on anything, just so you're completely aware of everything that's in the web shop, because some things do come out, leave the web shop very quickly, especially when we've got only
yeah,
small amounts of things. So that's just a little tip.
yeah.
If you want to know exactly when things are going in there, be sure to subscribe to the newsletter, and you get a free hat pattern called Mainstay, which is gorgeous, and you get all those product updates too.
Yep, yep. Um, for the rest of the summer, we don't really have any big new yarn launches planned. We are very much starting our journey towards issue 8, which is coming out on September 1st. And the first step on that journey is that we are clearing our shop shelves, which is exciting because we don't do sales very often. So from the middle of June, so at some point from now until Monday the 20th, we will start the sale. Oh, that's such a bad plug. Let's just say we start it on Monday the 20th.
There we go.
So Monday the 20th until June 30th, so until the end of the month, there will be yarns on sale in the web shop. And those will be yarns that we have smaller quantities of, that some of them we're not going to be restocking. And so if there's just something, you've always had your eye on, go check the sales section on the website to see if there's something that interests you. The other really important announcement is that during the same time frame, June 20th to 30th, is the last chance that you can get any of the kits that we currently have on the website. We're changing our approach with kits a little bit. Our original idea was that we always wanted to have kits in the web shop. Now that's proving to be a little bit difficult because it just increases the amount of things that we need to talk about in order for everyone to be aware that we're selling them by a lot. And we love talking about yarns, and we love talking about what we're making, and we love talking about sustainability and how to make something that really fits you. We don't like selling so much. We need to do it because this is a business after all, right? But we just realized over the last few months that there's a lot of products that we have, and that it just makes our life, we're a small team. It just makes it really difficult for us. We don't want to be like, Monday, buy this, Tuesday, buy that,
Yeah.
Wednesday, buy that kid, Thursday, buy that pattern, and it just kind of feels, I think we felt, or at least I felt a bit pressured into that space just by the sheer amount of things. And kits were a huge part of that because kits are very time consuming for us to set up, and they're amazing. But also we realized that, they sell very well when we're launching something new. So when we launched issue 7 and we launched the issue 7 kits, the kits were selling really well, but then afterwards they weren't. And it just made me think, what can we actually do with kits to make this a bit more sort of manageable really for us, like, so that we don't have a ton of different products that we need to plug all the time, and that we can, concentrate a little bit on basically just the content, not so much the selling. And so what we're going to do is we're going to completely clear out the kit section of the shop. So June 20th until June 30th, that's the last chance that you get at any of the kits that are in the shop. There are quite a few kits from issue 7 patterns. Some of them have like one sweater quantity left, others have like two or three. There are also some kits. There's still some Yoki kits, for example. There are some kits that we launched a little while back, sometime last year, like Schneeflöckchen hat patterns and things like that. All of those will go out of the web shop on July 1st. The individual yarns, they will still be available, but they won't be available in kit form. And I think kit form is really good if you just really don't want to think about yarn quantities. Do you have enough for swatching? Because all our kits always have enough yarn for swatching and, all of those things. So, yeah, if you want to grab a kit, now is the time. What will then happen going forward is that we'll have our new yarn kits for issue 8 available from when we launch issue 8 for a month, and then they'll be gone. So yeah, that's the way that we do kits moving forward. We're still very much we're learning how to sell yarn space. So if you have any feedback on that, if you have any thoughts about that, just let us know, because we're still experimenting and trying things out and trying to find a good balance between what works for us, but also obviously what works for you. So yeah, do let us know what you think about this.
I'm excited for issue 8 kits. And I'm still excited about the issue 7 kits. So I would definitely take a look at them, because there were some beautiful ones. I'm still tempted by a cigar kit.
I think there are a handful left. Maybe a couple.
Oh, they're really. Yeah. Oh, I just decided. I've been like, you can't buy any more wool, but now I'm like, ooh, I love cigar though.
Yeah.
I'm definitely making that at some point. It's such a beautiful cardigan. That's the one that's on the cover of of issue 7. There we go.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. It was lovely.
It was lovely.
Also to you, Claire. It was so good to have this space, share this space again with you.
I've enjoyed it. I really missed it. It was funny.
Me too.
When I was in England, we hardly spoke. I think we had one catch up, didn't we? We had like a quick catch up, so it was weird not having our weekly check-ins, and so yeah, it's so nice to be back at it.
Yeah. Don't forget to comment down below with the questions that you want us to answer in our Q&A episode that we'll be recording next week. And if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, send it to a knitting friend who you think might enjoy this. And we'll see you again here in 2 weeks.
Yay! Bye, everyone.
Bye.